How we getting on, folks? Look at Fairy House. Didn't really go to plan for us. It was definitely the first real bad day in a fair long time. In fairness, now when looking through the card, Brayside very poor, Kilkishen's first very poor, Favori Logic very poor. MC Muldoon was very impressive. In fairness, Lord Athon was poor. We put up a decent run, but it was poor in terms of a betting perspective. Little Actress was very, very unlucky, and Regina Dracona's drifted out to 5-1. So, look at it, I suppose, in all things considered, a 5-1 winner on any given day is always a good day, but um, I'm just a little bit disappointed in myself that we didn't do a little bit better than what we did do. But moving on to tomorrow, there's look at it, it's completely up in the air whether racing is going to go ahead or not. But I'm going to take the chance and I'm going to put it up as usual. Say the night before, if it is called off, look, we'll get our money back anyway. That's the main thing. But Thurles on tomorrow. Looks to be a very decent card. There's an awful lot of these, I suppose, potentially smart source running here now tomorrow, and hopefully it's going to be a very good day for racing if it goes ahead. Now, I was looking through the weather forecast. It's hard to know. Look at it, it's the lowest temperature recorded or predicted is 0 degrees, but it's a um dry night to be expected. So look at it, it's hard to know. We've been expecting snow for the past few days. I know I'm only about 40 minutes away from Thurles, but we haven't got any snow here at all. We didn't even see a flake of it. So I'd be hopeful. I wouldn't be confident, but I'd be hopeful racing to go ahead. And if it does, it's going to be a serious, serious day altogether. First of all, the first race off is the 145. Now, there's an awful lot of these you could make cases for, but I'm going to stick to Mouse Morris's charge here now and go with what's not to know at 11-8. And I just think this horse is that little bit special. It sort of split. It split Balderio and Blanket on the Ground, who Blanket on the Ground, in fairness, now is a fairly decent sort for McCarthy. But the time before that, it split two winners next time out. Now, Front View was in third. Um, the winner that particular day is after escaping me now, and I can't remember who it was. But I know for a fact Front View was in third. Went on then to win fairly impressively. I think it was in, oh, where was it? It was, I don't think it was Leopardstown. No, it wasn't in Leopardstown, but it was somewhere anyway. It could have been Fairy House or Punchestown anyway. Wherever it was, it was a winner next time out. So the form has been franked. Now, when you're looking down through the card here, I was sort of trying to make a case for a couple of these. But on overall form, what's not to know should be too good here, and it should be very, very hard to beat. And look at the price suggests that 11-8 is short enough, but it's over even money. So I'd be happy enough to get on board and go with it basically. Uh, Moving on then to the next race, then the 215. I would be going with Jim Draper's horse here now for Keith Donoghue, shopping around, currently priced in around 4-1. It's hard to know really what to make of the Naas run the last day. It was an impressive sort. It was staying on fairly well. Obviously, Thurles is known to be a staying on track and going up that hill. You'd rather be in the first maybe 4 or 5 rather than, I suppose, setting the pace, because setting the pace around Thurles, it can be good, and it can be very successful, but in my opinion it just sets you up to be shot at. And I just think shopping around, it stayed on very, very impressively the last day in Naas. Had beaten a few of these already, and I just think that, look at, when you put overall form and overall capabilities and form of yard, Jim Draper's 50% of his runners there for the past 2 weeks. Keith Donoghue as well is riding fairly efficiently as well. So I just think 4-1 is there to be shot at, and I just think that he's there. He's going there with a chance, and he should certainly be well accountable for, and he should be thereabouts in the finish. I just think 4-1 is a great bit of value here, and I think it should be certainly availed of. Moving on into the 250. Again, a very, very hard race. I know Willie Mullins has a hot pot in here, but I'm going to be going with the Henry de Bramed team for Pimlico Racing here with, I'm just going to name her Sean, because I nearly got caught out the last time because I trying to pronounce the second part of the name. I nearly ended up blurting out a bit of a swear word. So just for the sake of myself and for the sake of the viewers here who might be offended by that, I'm just going to go with Sean. Now, Sean was very impressive in Naas on her debut. She had, I think it was Delvino's race. It was Delvino's race actually in a very, very competitive mare's hurdle. Now, going on then to the next day, I think it was in Fairyhouse, if I'm not mistaken. She put up another very good performance, and she went, I suppose, one better. I just think that 4-1 is a little bit of an overprice here now for this one. I just think that, look, I know Patrick Mullins rides for Willie in a professional riders race. I think the amount of times he can do that over a year is 25. Now, I could be totally wrong, but I know there is a certain limit there where there's a cut-off point. So obviously Patrick values this Willie Mullins horse very well, and I wouldn't be surprised if it did go on to win. But in terms of overall value and overall potential, Sean has got it all. Like the way her last run has turned out on form wise, it's the best in the race. It's as simple as that. And I think 4-1 is very much overpriced of this horse. And I just think that the bookies might be, let's just say, underestimating her capabilities. And I just think that Rachel Blackmore, she's definitely one of the best riders in Ireland. She's certainly one of the best riders of the generation, and she should be well capable of putting out a decent performance here with Sean. Sean is a very, very decent performer, and she should be, I suppose, with general progression and general improvement, she should be thereabouts in the finish. And I just think 4-1 is a very, very good price. Now, 320 then, my nap of the day for the YouTube picks. It goes without saying, it's not necessarily a great price when you look at overall betting, but in terms of potential, this Capodanno for Willie Mullins, ridden by Mark Walsh, at 6-4 is great value. When you look at the last two runs in Clonmel, actually I think it was the last three runs in Clonmel, it was very, very good. It was very strong, and it was full of capabilities, but I think it was the first run or the first two runs, it just needed that little bit more experience and overall, I suppose, improvement in its running to be able to see out in the finish. Now, it has done that since. It put up a very, very good performance in Clonmel that particular day. And I just think, when you think about where this horse is coming from and where this horse is potentially going, we could be looking at another... what race did San Ra win last year? I can't remember where it was, but it's sort of a similar lineup to where Willie Mullins started with San Ra, and I just think that this horse could be one for Cheltenham, and I don't think there's a Cheltenham horse in this particular race, and hence Capodanno takes the biscuit here. 6-4 is going to be my nap of the day. 350 then, we're going straight from the nap to the next best. Dunboyne here, ridden by Keith Donoghue. We're hoping for a Keith Donoghue double here now, but realistically, I know, I think, if I'm not mistaken now, I can't remember who trains it. I'm nearly sure it's Gordon Elliott, but I don't want to commit myself in saying it. But looking at his last few runs, look at second a couple of occasions. I think it was fourth on the occasion before that. General consistency enough. A little bit frustrating the fact that it hasn't put his head in front, but when you look at overall form, chasing home the likes of Bob Ollinger in Naas, you can't look past him at 7-4. He certainly looks to be the real deal, and it should be very, very good, and he should be very good in the finish here. I don't think there's a Bob Ollinger hidden among the trees here, let's just say, in Thurles tomorrow, and I just think that Dunboyne is going to be too good for this particular field tomorrow. 425 then, my only each way tip of the day for the YouTube. Queen of Fame here. The name of the trainer escapes me, but I know Brian Hayes is riding it. Now, the last time it ran, I think it was in Punchestown, it was second at 100-1. Now, it was a very good second that day behind an Oliver McKiernan's horse. I think it was Chief of Police. Now, I could be totally wrong in saying that, but I know it was Oliver McKiernan and Barry Brown that rode it that particular day. Now, as we all know, Oliver McKiernan is really hitting his form now, and to come second to any of his horses now around this time of year, you would be certainly thinking that this horse is particularly special. Now, it's a tough one to call. Look, when you're trying to dictate and when you're trying to find a particular nice each way horse in a race like this that's completely wide open, it's so hard and it's so tricky. And I just think this Queen of Fame, the fact that she was 100-1 that particular day, she stayed on very well for second, behind a potential very much improving horse. I just think that's too good to be true, and I think 7-1 is great value there, and it should be there or thereabouts in the finish. In terms of an each way perspective, look at it, it's not really a great price. You would really want to see a quarter of the odds. I think it is actually a quarter of the odds on Bet365, but look at it, it's a very, very hard race to call if it goes ahead at all. But it's going to be very exciting in Thurles tomorrow. And finally then, the 455, the bumper of the day, that's going to be my patron pick of the day. I'm not going to be covering it here on YouTube. Now, it sort of suits me that way because we're going to actually talk about patron now. For those who might want to sign up, if say for the fact that I might have made you a few bob over the past couple of weeks. I know, say, new subscribers in here mightn't necessarily know the patron side of things, but what we basically do, it's €10 a month. You get daily tips from myself, Ryan and Dean from the Irish Racing Hour, which is a podcast there that promotes Irish racing and Irish racing as a whole. Not necessarily the bigger names every week, but we get different people in from different sides of the industry as well. So just to give credit where credit's due to the people that wouldn't necessarily get the I suppose the applause that's needed in the industry. As well as that, then we do monthly giveaways where I suppose we've a couple of plans in mind as to what we're going to do, say for the next couple of months, to try and get bigger and better. But overall, we are hoping someday, if we can get up enough of a following, that we might be able to sort a bit of a racing club and maybe get a horse or two in training, hopefully with the help of God. But look, it's €10 a month. For the sake of $2.50 a week, it's incredible value in my personal opinion. I don't think, when you look at the racing papers and everything else like that, it's an awful lot cheaper than what you'd be paying, say, on a weekly or daily basis in some cases. But look, I leave a link in the description below. If any person that signs up is greatly appreciated, and it's certainly well regarded as well. But I'm going to leave it there. If you're going to be having a bet tomorrow, look at the very best of luck to you. Please make sure to keep liking, sharing and subscribing. We're slowly but surely closing in on the 1,000 subscribers mark. I think there's still 48% of people looking at these videos that still haven't signed or subscribed yet. So look, just take the second out of your time and just hit that button just to help me out, please. And yeah, the very best of luck for tomorrow. We'll be back again. I think Dundalk is Friday, so we won't be doing that, but over the weekend we certainly will be. Look, take care, best of luck tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be on the end of a few winners if it's on.